Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Happy Friday or Saturday or whenever you're watching this video. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So in today's video, unfortunately, we do have some bad news for people on Social Security disability, or rather those people who are trying to get on disability benefits. So we're going to be going over that and what experts say needs to change in order to fix this problem. In addition to that, we're also going to be going over the 2024 increase. We have some new projections in for that, otherwise known as the cost of living adjustment. And finally, we're going to be going over one statement by a lawmaker, a Republican lawmaker, what he said about potentially slashing Social Security benefits. So we'll be going over that as well. Now, before I get into the main content of today's video, if you wouldn't mind helping me out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. And also, if you would like to receive some free stocks, I will go ahead and leave a couple of different links where you can receive them if you are interested in a pinned comment below. Okay, so over the past few months, we've had numerous talks about Social Security reform. Really, this has been going on for over the past year or so. So we've had that plan by Bernie Sanders, which would actually raise benefits by $200 per month. And then we've had some plans by Republicans. A lot of Republicans, for the most part, have said that we, in fact, actually need to be raising the full retirement age, which is currently either at 66 or 67, depending on when you were born, all the way up to, let's say, like 69 or 70. So just a couple of days ago, there was an interview with Steve Bannon. He was interviewing Matt Gaetz. He is a Republican representative in the House of Representatives, and he was saying that we need to have serious discussions about raising the full retirement age up to 70. So I'm going to be playing a clip here. It's about 1 minute long, and then we're going to be coming back to talk about it.
Jody Arrington is on top of things. He is very competent, and he laid out a budget menu to the members. And frankly, I thought that it was going to be milquetoast, and it was bold and it was effective at meeting the challenges that we have to meet. And it did not slash the defense budget, which is something that I would not support. I don't want to fund the defense budget of Ukraine and other countries, but I do believe that we ought to have the most technically capable military in the world, and we ought to have a qualitative edge over any potential adversary now and in the future. And so the Arrington budget would, I think, have pleased the Hawks.
Without touching Social Security and Medicare?
I believe that we have to have a discussion about raising the age of Social Security. I think that is not a likelihood with Joe Biden in the White House and a Democrat Senate. But do I believe that forever and always the age of Social Security will be what it is today?
But did Arrington's budget get to a balanced budget in 10 years with going just focusing on Medicaid and leaving Medicare and Social Security?
I think that Arrington rightly doesn't look at a 10-year budget window for balance. You know why? I've been here for a bunch of these 10-year budget windows, and you know what they say? They say, oh, well, we're going to do all the spending in the upfront years, and we're going to have the cuts in years 7, 8, 9, 10.
What did Arrington
And so
say?
Arrington's budget had deep cuts in the early years. And that is all that matters.
Why could people not rally around that? That's what everybody's talked about.
Well,
So again, this is sort of the main thought among, I would say, probably 90% of Republican lawmakers. I say lawmakers because if we're polling Republican voters, in large part, these Republican voters are against cutting Social Security benefits. They like their Social Security benefits. They're paying into the system their entire working careers. So most voters, most Republican voters, don't want to wait all the way until 70 to receive their full retirement benefit. But among Republican lawmakers, this is sort of the main talking point. And, Democrats, in large part, want to raise taxes, where they want to lift the cap on the payroll taxes, where anyone earning above $250,000 per year will once again have to pay the Social Security payroll tax. Republicans are against that. The lawmakers are anyways, and they instead want to raise the full retirement age up to 70. Now, I'm going to go ahead and move on to some other news here. This is unfortunately the bad news in regards to Social Security disability benefits. So yesterday there was a report that apparently at this moment there are over 1 million people waiting for their applications to be reviewed. Now, since they started calculating this data, it's at its highest number now since 2008. And this is mostly because, Social Security is having troubles hiring workers. And then once they do hire workers, they're having a very tough time actually keeping them on board because they're leaving because of the high stress and they're going to work with other companies. So, according to Fox News, it's not good news for those waiting for Social Security disability benefits. Over 1 million new applications are pending reviews as of March 2023. According to USA Facts, which compiled the data, this is the highest number they've seen since 2008 when they first analyzed these numbers. What this means is that an estimated 8,000 applicants file for bankruptcy nationwide and 10,000 die each year waiting for a decision with no financial assistance before an application is approved. So we can kind of see the consequences here. While these applications are taking several months to be approved, and we have this backlog that just keeps increasing because the Social Security Administration is unable to hire enough workers, and these workers are already very much stressed as is because they're reviewing more cases than ever per person. There's a lot of people that are having to file for bankruptcy, and a lot of people are dying just waiting for their approval. The article goes on to say that the last time the benefits backlog was this high was in August of 2010. Utah was the 16th worst backlog in the country, with applications waiting to be processed up 63% from 2019 to 2022. Applications have remained fairly consistent, but the processing time has nearly doubled from 4 months to nearly 7.5 months, largely due to a lack of employees at the state level and reduced funding. So a lot of us thought at one point that 4 months was way too long. Well, guess what? Now it's nearly doubled at 7.5 months. That is way too long. If you have any experience with this personally, I would love to hear your thoughts or comments down in the comment section below. It's sort of create a discussion. How long did it take for you to get approved if you did apply for disability benefits? I would love to hear your thoughts and comments below. And once again, this is sort of a problem. We do have a budget that's supposed to be released very much soon by the Republican Party. Right now, Biden is saying that he wants a 10% increase in funding for Social Security, which could potentially help solve this problem by hiring new employees and having sort of different retention programs. But, in the end, I believe the organization or one labor union actually said that they need more. So according to CNBC, and this is actually an article that we went over the other day, Social Security is in the worst public service crisis in memory. Labor union says what it may take for services to improve. So right now they're noting that beneficiaries who call the agency's toll-free number may face hold times of more than 30 minutes, which is just ridiculously long. And while Biden is calling for $15.5 billion in funding for the agency, AFGE said it needs $2 billion more, or almost $17.5 billion. And the Social Security Administration staffing is at the lowest level in 25 years. AFGE surveys showed that 76% of Social Security staffers say they have overwhelmingly large workloads that prevent them from performing their jobs to the best of their abilities. Meanwhile, 9 out of 10 workers know someone who has left their job due to overwhelming work-related stress. So we can sort of see the problem here that workers currently there want to leave because it's just overwhelming and extremely stressful. They want to go to a job that pays better, has better benefits, and they're not going to have this overwhelming amount of stress. So the SSA is in dire need of help, dire need of more funding. We'll just have to wait and see if they get the funding that they think that they need and if that in fact solves the problem. Otherwise, we might see an even longer backload in those disability applications. So again, we will just have to wait and see. Now, in some other news, yesterday we did have a report come out where I guess new projections as far as the Social Security increase goes for 2024, otherwise known as the cost of living adjustment or COLA. So according to CNBC, as inflation starts to subside, a lower Social Security cost of living adjustment for 2024 may be on the horizon. New government inflation data shows inflation is cooling, and that could point to a lower cost of living adjustment or COLA for Social Security beneficiaries next year. The Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers, or CPIU, rose 5% from a year ago and 0.1% in March, according to data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics released on Wednesday. Yet another measure used to calculate Social Security COLA each year, the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, or CPIW, rose 4.5% over the last 12 months and 0.3% for the month prior to seasonal adjustment. And of course, the CPIW is what they use for the COLA for recipients of Social Security. If inflation continues to fall at the current rate, the Social Security COLA for 2024 may be less than 3%, according to an unofficial estimate from the Senior Citizens League, a nonpartisan senior group. That is a very early estimate, though, according to Mary Johnson, Social Security and Medicare analyst for the group, gauging how much the increase for 2024 will be, if there is one, will be clearer towards the second half of the year. So what they do is they take the third quarter CPIW for this year, they'll compare it to the third quarter CPIW from last year, and they'll see how much of an increase or decrease there was, and that's how they'll adjust the COLA. So right now they're expecting this could be less than 3%, which will be much less than this year's 8.7%. This is good news and bad news. Bad news because the increase won't be as much as last year. Good news because the increase that we did get, we're seeing lower levels of inflation this year. So we received an 8.7% adjustment in 2023, but so far this year, inflation has been less than that. So at least we're sort of keeping up with what inflation is. But let me know what your thoughts and comments are below on that and everything else that I went over in this video. That's all we have for today's video, so I certainly hope that you enjoyed. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you in the next video.